The theme of today's readings can be found in the opening prayer about us receiving adoption and also receiving true freedom. And it's presented very well in the second reading in the letter of Paul to Philemon. Paul tells Philemon that he has his runaway slave, and he's going to send him back to Philemon, the runaway slave, but not to take him back as a slave, but to take him back as a free person. Take him back as a friend. Take him back the way you'd welcome me, Paul, an apostle. That little letter tells us about the transition from slavery to freedom. It's present throughout the Bible. For 400 years, the Jews were in slavery. And then, of course, they were liberated from Egypt. And on their way of liberation, they received the Ten Commandments, giving them all kinds of rights, human rights. They received the covenant between themselves and a loving God. Certainly they were his adopted children then. In the very liturgy of the Paschal meal, it celebrates this transition from slavery to freedom. At the time of Christ, the Jews expected the Messiah to free the Jews from the slavery of the Roman Empire. And then we see in church history, St. Patrick was the first bishop to condemn slavery. We see that during medieval times, there was a religious order of monks whose sole purpose was to ransom slaves. And then, of course, we see in the 19th century how slavery was outlawed around the world. You forget to realize there are more people in slavery now than ever before. More than 30 million people in this world of ours are in slavery. Some of them are agricultural slaves, forced work without pay. Some are in mines, also that forced work. And then there's the slavery today of prostitution, where they take people and they force them into the work without pay. And then we have domestic servitude. They capture people and they sell them to fairly affluent people who have them working in their homes without pay. Over 30 million of them. And then there's another type of slavery around the world. Psychological slavery. We see it in substance abuse. Those who are slaves to alcohol, to drugs, and also to pornography, to gambling, to shopping. Even people are slaves to work. They work 14, 15, 16 hours a day, and they don't seem to be able to stop it. Somehow, we need to be liberated today in the 21st century from slavery in all its forms. That's the challenge to the church today. There's a psychologist at Stanford University that made a study of the permissive home, the unstructured family that has a higher rate with children in drugs than those who have discipline in their family. Yes, the people the children and adults that suffer from drugs, from alcohol, are still living in an egocentric world. And they don't seem to be able to move out of that into a free world. We are called to do that. So let us, first of all, pray for all those in the world today that are suffering from slavery. We also encourage the leaders of the world to address the problem. Somehow, the leaders of the world, some of them do not even are aware of the problem of slavery. But the readings today call us out to realize that we are called to be free people. Tomorrow is, of course, Labor Day. What a wonderful gift it is to be able to choose your own work freely and to enjoy it, and not to let your work possess you, but you use the work itself to make you more free, to make you into a better person, making you into someone who's growing and developing beyond self to the love of neighbor, to the love of God himself.